the original version of this song the other day, and it threw me off when I didn't hear the Whale Girl.
Yeah,
I've been playing this for so long. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, wow, that's what it sounds like. Not the dumb thing that I made. Well, I'll tell you what. The last person I thought would have been stirring up controversy is Matthew Perry.
Oh,
But every
yeah.
day there's some new story about a passage in his book. Matthew Perry of Friends, of course. I'm sure you've seen the stories trickle out. He's on this press tour for this book about his many, many years of drug abuse and just all over the place, you know. He's like, you can watch seasons of Friends and tell what drug I'm on based on how I look. All I ever saw was that sometimes you'd see him real thin. And I don't mean like season 1 or 2 thin because they were so young. There were periods further into the run of that show where you'd see him some seasons real thin and other ones he looked kind of puffy. And word on the street was that that's when you could tell when he was in rehab or, you know. And he's like, the cast finally had an intervention with him. They're like, look, we know something's going on and we want you to be okay. He said Jennifer Aniston was the one who kept him most in contact with him. But in the process, he has upset a handful of people. I guess he was he said he just picked a name out of thin air when there's a couple passages with him being dismissive of Keanu Reeves because Matthew Perry was friends with River Phoenix. And he said, River Phoenix dies and Keanu Reeves is still alive. He just picked a name out of a hat, right? Keanu Reeves walks among us. Chris Farley dies. Heath Ledger dies. Keanu Reeves still alive. And people were like, that's weird. That's an odd. So then he comes out. He's like, Keanu's great. I just picked a random name in my head. I should have used my own name, quite frankly. And now he has upset the ostomy community.
What is that?
Everybody knows. I can't believe you don't know what the ostomy
I've
community
never heard
is.
of an ostomy.
You've heard of a colonostomy, haven't you?
A colostomy bag.
Well, an ostomy is when they have to create an opening in your body. So the colostomy bag is when they have to reroute from your
Colostomy.
colon.
Yes,
That's right.
okay.
But there are different kinds of ostomies.
Armpitostomy.
Sure. And because his drug abuse had so ravaged his body. I think the first story that came out of this we talked about last week when he was like the doctors told him he had a 2% chance of living by the time he got into the hospital. His colon had burst from years of opioid abuse, and so he was in a coma for 2 weeks.
Do you think they're being a little dramatic with those predictions where they're like, oh, you got a 2% chance?
I mean, I maybe. I mean, I think they probably maybe want to scare you straight. I don't.
Yeah,
I think you
that's
might
what
be.
I think.
I think you might be beyond that at that point. But when they have to give you an emergency colostomy bag or whatever, like that's pretty dramatic. And they had to give him that to save his life. So he's like, when I woke up and realized I had a colostomy bag, that was kind of when I got myself straight. That was what helped him break his pattern of addiction. He said, every time I think about taking Oxy, I just look down at my scar and think about having a colostomy bag for the rest of my life. Well, the people in the ostomy community are apparently upset because he's not making it sound awesome. He called it a hellish colostomy, helped him kick his drug addiction. And I know people in that community probably don't want to be, diminished, but nobody's applauding when they have to get a colostomy bag. They're like, it's not something you recover from. Because he said they told him he was going to have it for a year. And so the people in that community are like, I'm not an animal, I'm a man. That kind of thing, which, yeah, of course. But nobody's going, yay, colostomy bag. There's no one who would describe it otherwise.
That's not true. A lot of people think it's like the funnest, coolest thing. You don't have to wipe your butt anymore.
You trick it out.
Yeah, I never talk about the good parts of the ostomies.
You put all your stickers on there. A colostomy is a procedure to save your life, this woman said. You can recover from drug addiction. That's a whole other thing entirely. He should have said the colostomy saved his life. Okay, fine. And I'm sure the ostomy community doesn't get much generic attention.
Ostomites.
So they've taken umbrage with him painting it in such a bad light. Yeah, okay. But again, nobody's happy to get that. James Murray is the president of the United Ostomy Associations of America, or UOA. UOA. Yeah. How do you get that gig? I mean, he's probably a doctor, but I mean, somebody's got to head all these organizations. And this guy is the head of the United Ostomy Associations. So they're like, look, it's great that Matt Perry fought his addiction and blah, blah, blah. But, you know. So this guy, he's like, all right, what do you want from me? I pulled Keanu's name out of a hat. Now I got the colostomy people mad at me.
And he's just trying to share his story where he's like, hey, I had some of the worst addictions you can have and overcame them. Like, you know what I mean? He's just trying to spread awareness and piss people off.
They're also mad in the book where he described that colostomy bags break all the time, and he was worried about that. They said they don't break all the time, but they leak.
Even better.
I was going to say, that's kind of a distinction without a difference. Obviously, you don't want a bag to break, but... So, yeah, that does not sound good. You're like a big dude on the biggest show on television, and you got a colostomy bag. But nobody's high-fiving their friends when that's what saves your life. People with the bags struggle with leaks, irritated skin, or blockages. Listen, if you've ever met somebody who has one, and I have, known a couple people who've had them, yeah, it will save your life. You know, people get like, have complications from Crohn's disease. A lot of people get these.
Mm-hmm.
There's young people who get, it's called an ileostomy.
Would you rather have a colostomy bag or have one of your, I didn't think of another.
I was going to say,
have your foot cut off.
Would you rather have a colostomy bag or have your foot cut off?
Yeah.
I would rather
Your
have
bad
the bag. What?
Your left foot. Well, you
I don't have a
much.
bad foot.
I'm going bag.
Well,
I would rather have the
it.
bag than one foot. What, so I poop normally, but I'm hopping around?
Well, yeah, and I don't think...
Do I get a prosthetic foot?
Sure. It's your foot. Do
Well, this is his scenario.
All right, see, I go with the foot cut off because then I have twice as many shoes that I can wear.
No, but you can't.
You just put it on the wrong foot.
You know how uncomfortable that'll be?
You have to throw away all...
No, I'll just wear it on the
You
wrong
have
foot.
to throw away half
That'll
your
be all right.
shoes
That'll be okay.
on the wrong foot.
But then you get a fake foot. That'd be fun. I'm for it. Cut the foot off. I don't want the bag.
I mean...
Listen,
Let's hope it never comes to
out
that.
of me. I don't want it to leak. You guys would want me to have my foot cut off.
But you're Mr. Fart Your Farts. What about Leak Your Leaks?
Ugh.
I'm not leak your leaks. I'm fart your farts. I am not leak your leaks.
All right. Not Leak Your Leaks.
Yeah, cut my foot off. Get a cool prosthetic. That'd be fun. Especially because you could like prank people with it.
Yeah. Prank them with it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, is that your fake foot? Nope, that's my colostomy bag.
Gotcha.
How do you like that? Oh, no, my fake foot is leaking. Oh, that's
Okay.
not right.
How about this one? Would you rather have a colostomy bag or live off of Poundcake's wages?
I've kind of already done that.
Yeah, I have two.
But you got to do it now. Go back to that.
Now.
Yeah.
Poundcake,
Actually,
would you
Cody and I
rather
probably make about the same amount of money.
Poundcake, would you rather live off your wages or get a colostomy bag?
And then if
We're asking the wrong
all
guy.
right, here's the thing, Poundcake. You got a colostomy bag, but you make as much as Alan now.
I would trade that. Give me a colostomy bag to be a millionaire? Absolutely.
Not a millionaire. This is like taking root with the audience now. And people are like, you never had to. I go, bro,
So that means
you piss yourself if you live in some of the neighborhoods I've lived in.
that means my butt
So
is
you were
like
always a millionaire, so you are now.
worthless,
I'm not
right?
now.
What's that?
Yeah, you can't use it for gay stuff either.
Not true.
You can't use it for gay stuff.
You can use it for gay stuff.
Can you use it for gay stuff?
It's
Yes,
a
you can
hole.
use it for gay stuff.
Why would you?
I don't know. I thought it was off limits now.
It
No,
is.
Now you
nothing's-
poop through your
nothing's
stomach.
going through it.
It is a hole
guess.
into your colon. Well,
Nothing's going through it now. It's being
Now
the-
that you put it
that
that
That's
route
what I'm
is
saying.
detoured. So if
You
anything,
still have a
it's just a little.
you still have a
fun place.
beehole, yeah. So you're taking the money?
Well, now that I know I can like bottom freely, sure.
You still got a bag.
Yeah, what a
hanging
sexy,
from you.
what a sexy time
I'll
that's
cover
going
it
to
up
be.
with like a pillow or
A
something.
pillow.
I'm just
Yeah.
like, all right, go.
Just get a leather daddy vest that just has a nice pocket for it.
My cord's coming out. Ow, ow.
My
Cord. No, I said fistula.
Mm.
Hey, Donnie.
Hello.
Hey, Donnie, what's going on?
Oh, not much, Alan. I'd just like to do some educating on the bag.
Are you part of the ostomy community, Donnie?
I am not personally, but my wife is.
Oh, she is. How did that come to pass? You'll pardon the pun.
She suffered with UC ulcerative colitis for many, many years.
Yep.
Where it was terrible for her to do anything, like to go out to a restaurant.
Sure.
I mean, now we have 2 young kids, and she has this bag, and it's changed her life.
I mean, there's people running marathons with bags. It's not like it ends your, it doesn't make you an invalid.
So what you're saying is if I get one of these, I can run a marathon?
Yes,
Cool.
you can run a marathon immediately when you get one of these.
But yeah, that was it.
Oh, okay.
He's just saying they're not that bad, like meth.
Right.
Yeah,
Is
they're
it
not that bad. I mean,
is
it's
it like,
either you suffer one way or
right? And
You
so
deal
and
with
so
it, yeah.
she's living a better life.
yeah, and she wouldn't take it back for nothing.
Right. I bet. How old is she, Donnie, and how long has she had it?
35, and she got it right before COVID. So
Oh, so it's
it'll be 3
relatively
years in
new.
March. Yeah.
It's newish. Yeah. Did they tell her this
Yeah.
is the only thing, or they say this is the best thing?
No, she's went through like so many different treatments before this.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the last straw.
Don't use it as a straw.
Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you, Donnie. I appreciate the info.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Bill. Shut up, Bill. Use it as a straw.
It said don't.
I mean, really. Yeah, so anyway, so it's not the thing that people think it is, because I think they've kind of come a long way too. Because back in the day, it was a much bigger deal, I think. But boy,
Yeah,
again,
technology improves. and
yeah,
they
I don't know that
become-
anybody thought Matthew
Yeah.
Perry was going to be the guy that was going to be pissing people off, but there it is.
I just don't know why he's got to come for Keanu Reeves like that. How do you say that name, Poundcake?
Keanu.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotten better.
Alan, a couple of years ago, I was so close to having an emergency colostomy bag because of COVID. I was dehydrated so badly that it blew 2 holes in my colon. Wow.
Wait, that's crazy.
Dehydrated to the point of, man.
Dehydrated colon, huh?
I mean, again, I guess in the Matthew Perry case, and I'm fully ignorant about the effects of opioid abuse on the body, but I mean, again, it just like eat through the colon, or is that what it was? Like he popped his colon. I mean, and this was a guy who was like dating some pretty
Top-notch.
beautiful
Yeah,
women. He was
yeah.
with Lizzie Kaplan for a long time, and he was with, what's her name?
He did date Julia Roberts for a minute.
Yeah. Martin Luther King Jr. paid for her hospital visit. You read that story?
No, what?
Julia Roberts said that Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King, his wife, paid the hospital bill when she was born. That they paid her birth bill.
Was he just like, hey, I don't know how many of the kids in here are mine, so I'll just pay for all of
Just,
them?
you know what? Give me the tab. Give me the whole tab.
One looks a little light. Her birthday was a couple of days ago, and she said, little known, I think somebody else might have brought it up, and she confirmed it.
Hey, all the births are on me. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good guy.
55 years ago, Martin Luther King Jr. paid for
Because you have 2 historical figures that I'll bet most people don't know this about you. You're brushed with, let's start with the day you were born. Who paid for the hospital bill?
Okay. Her research is very good.
We're professionals.
This is
Yeah, Gayle King just asks Oprah what she knows, and then she gives her the index cards.
the King family paid for my hospital bill.
Not my family.
Not your family, but
Martin Luther King Jr.
and Coretta.
And how did that come about?
Well-
I mean, did you guys know that about Julia Roberts? That's what I said. Martin Luther King Jr. and
How
Coretta
would
Scott
anyone
King
know
Jr.
that?
Why did they do that? Because
Well,
your dad, Walter Roberts.
Yes, and obviously because my parents couldn't pay for the hospital bill, my parents had a theater school in Atlanta called the Actors and Writers Workshop. And one day, Coretta Scott King called my mother and asked if her kids could be part of the school because they were having a hard time finding a place that would accept her kids. And my mom was like, sure, come on over. And so they just all became friends and they helped us out of a jam.
Yeah, because in the 60s, you didn't have little black children interacting with little white kids in acting school.
Right.
And your parents were like, come on in.
Yeah.
I think that's extraordinary.
Yeah.
And it sort of lays the groundwork for who you are.
Boy, Julia Roberts looks boffo. She looks awesome.
I've never heard that word.
Can't say that anymore.
I have, and it means awesome.
She's
apparently.
pretty, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? She is pretty.
She's really pretty.
Well, because some people are like, oh, some people are not into Julia Roberts. They're like, the features of her face together are kind of something. But if you were to,
I always
people
thought
treat her like Mrs. Potato Head.
I always thought she's gorgeous.
Yes. Mystic Pizza? Come on, man.
Man, when's the last time you watched Pretty Woman?
Last night,
Really?
I watch it.
Wild.
It's an annual tradition. We watch Pretty Woman on Halloween
yeah.
at Casa Cox.
No, you're not going
It's terrifying.
trick-or-treating, Nora.
It's-
We have to watch Pretty Woman.
That's right. It's a comedy about a hooker.
What did she make, like $3,000 for that week?
Yes.
Oh, it's so...
in 1990.
Yeah. Which is still...
She would have banged Richard Gere for nothing.
But the
Wasn't he-
$3,000, like, it's kind of a lot of money, but it's not
But wasn't Richard Gere?
that much
Not for
money.
a week for a
Yeah.
rich guy.
Right.
Although he did buy her a bunch of things.
He
And
did.
Jason Alexander, the little snake.
He was a jerk.
Oh, he was a real jerk face.
I don't think I've ever seen this movie.
You've never seen Pretty Woman?
I don't think
You
so.
should watch that.
Watch American Gigolo first, and then it'll give you subtext.
You watched American Gigolo?
Bruce
That's-
Bigelow?
American, yes, American Gigolo with
Richard Gere.
Richard Gere.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I've never seen that.
Yeah, so that's why I thought he got that role as like the what do they call it, the John, because he
Had already played a hooker.
played a male prostitute. So I'm like, okay, there's gonna be no like chauvinistic pig stuff here. He knows what it's like on these streets. I didn't know.
Wait,
that it
you
had
thought
nothing to
that
do-
he played a different character because he played a different character
I
in
thought-
another movie?
I thought for optics, that's why they picked him for that
Optics.
role. Yeah, that's what I thought.
The way
it's
his
just 'cause he-
brain works, man.
yeah,
love
I think
it.
it's just
I love it.
he was a big deal at the time. And by
I
the
didn't
way,
realize how I didn't know that was him. This was when we had like
but Richard Gere was like the 15th guy that they went to. He was like the guy who said yes.
because
That
he
movie
did
was-
Full Frontal in that movie. No one probably wanted to do Full
In American
Frontal
Gigolo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no one probably wanted to do.
No,
Full
but
Frontal.
we're talking about Pretty Woman. He was like the 15th guy they went to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they had a hard time getting that movie made, and Julia Roberts was pretty much an unknown.
Oh,
so
man,
that
he was hot.
That's what I'm saying.
He's still a good looking
Hey,
guy.
come on.
I mean, he is, but look at him then.
Here's who turned down Pretty Woman: Christopher Reeve, Daniel Day-Lewis, Kevin Kline, Denzel, Albert Brooks,
That would have been a very different movie.
Yes.
They
with
would have had
Albert Brooks.
Denzel.
Al Pacino, Burt Reynolds. They all turned it down. Sam Neill, we were just talking about Sam Neill because we watched Jurassic Park. Tom Conti, if you remember him, and Charles Grodin, all tested with Julia Roberts.
Boy, I've been saying Tom's name wrong for a long time.
Could you imagine if Charles Grodin had played the character in Pretty Woman?
Yeah, I guess
Richard Gere initially said no, but then he met with Julia Roberts and she persuaded him. Yes, she can be very persuasive. They went to Molly Ringwald before they went to Julia Roberts. She felt uncomfortable playing a hooker. They said Winona Ryder was too young. Jennifer Connelly was too young. Bunch of other people auditioned. but didn't get it. Drew Barrymore, Brooke Shields, Uma Thurman, and Kristen Davis. That's Hollywood, baby.
You work on commission, right? Big mistake. Huge.
Huge. So that's my annual Halloween movie, Pretty Woman.
I think you
That's
should
right.
watch it, Mary. It's a good movie.
Oh,
I
it's
will.
so fun.
Figure it out.
See, what happens is a rich guy falls in love with a hooker.
Oh, goodness.
So it could happen to any one of you hoes out
It
there.
really could.
Fingers crossed. Pretty Woman, by the way, fun fact, Hank Azaria's first speaking role.
Whoa.
Would there have, in a film, I should say. He had already been doing The Simpsons, but his first speaking role in a film, the great Hank Azaria. Let me break here. You want to get the last word in, shoot me a text, 35192. The Corey Roddick Experience on the way at 6:30, along with your next chance to go